Welcome to the Couple to Couple League PeakDay podcast, where we talk about fertility and natural family planning with our friends. Today's guests are Jessica, Luna, and Joshua Carlos. Jessica and Joshua met at Cal State while they were both studying kinesiology. Jessica works as a physical therapy aide and loves exploring new ways of movement and expression by learning different styles of dance, drawing, painting, and photography. Joshua is a personal trainer and group fitness instructor and trains athletes as a run and strength coach. Joshua volunteers for a youth track and cross-country organization, the Los Angeles Falcons, a program that his father started 35 years ago. Joshua and Jess were married in 2023, and after Joshua completed RCIA, they had their marriage convalidated on their first anniversary. They enjoy doing fun and eventful activities together and appreciate the increase in communication they gained when they learned about natural family planning. Thank you for being on the podcast, Joshua and Jessica.
Thank you for having us.
Let's start at the beginning. Tell us how you met.
During my undergrad, I had learned how to dance salsa and bachata. I was a part of a club. And so one of my other friends who was also a grad student, he was also into it. And so he started playing music at the party because, he had brought us his DJ setup and everything. He started playing bachata music. And so I got super excited. And so there was like a whole bunch of our female leaders that were just like standing there. And so I was all like, does anybody know how to dance bachata? And so she was just like, yes, I do.
Oh.
And so we started dancing that night, and, we were, we felt good about each other. And so, but we never really got each other's names. And so I was trying to, like, after we danced and everything, we were going on with the rest of the event, talking and whatnot, about the program, what our goals are and whatnot. And so we were getting towards like the end of the event, and I was like, wait, I never got her name. Like, I want to know who this person is. Yeah. And so like I'm scrambling around trying to like find her. Maybe if I can get her name or number or something.
So we ended up leaving without knowing each other's names.
Oh, bummer.
And so I was pretty new to the social media Instagram. I was not very tech savvy. So I had opened it up the next day, going through it and telling my friends about the night, like, oh, I met this guy, just didn't get his name, and hopefully, I'd be able to see him soon. Right. And our mutual friend had, I think, had posted up a picture or something, and then I was pointing at my phone, and I was like, that's the guy. And I was like tapping on it, so I ended up liking the picture, and I was like, I don't know what I did. And then
I got that notification that she liked it. Whoa. And I had already was like stalking her on social media trying to find her. And then I get this notification, Clumsy Luna liked your photo. And I was like, wait, what? And so like I opened it up, and sure enough, it was her. So I messaged her on Instagram. We were going back and forth.
Well, you decided you wanted to get married, and nowadays so many young couples just really aren't getting married. What was your motivation to actually wanting to be married?
Well, funny enough, I actually, when we first met on our first date, I had really bad experiences with relationships. And before, I used to, it was great. I thought about, kids. I thought about, getting married and all of that. And then just like over time, I was just having really bad relationships where I didn't believe in marriage. I didn't want kids. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I told her that on our first date. I was just all like, I don't believe in love. I don't really want to get married, and so she stuck with me.
Thought, like maybe it'll change down the line, and after a couple months or
eventually I did change my mind, and it was just mainly because of how she is. And I was the first one, to say I love you. I was the first one that, thought about marriage or like brought it up again and everything. Like, so like there was never any pressure from her. It was just, I don't know, just something you feel that connection, and you feel that there's something inside of you call it the Holy Spirit, call it God. At the time I didn't know any of that, but hindsight's always 2020, right? And so, there was something working inside of me that I was just like, I want to marry this woman. I want to spend the rest of my life with her. And so
you did get married in a civil ceremony, but Jessica, you mentioned that you had wanted to maybe get married in the Catholic Church, even though maybe neither of you were practicing your faith. So what was attractive to you about wanting to be married, in the church?
Well, I had grown up Catholic, and so it was always, as part of your tradition as well, like to get married in a Catholic church. But when I first met Josh, he wasn't very religious at all. And so, again, we compromised, a lot of compromise. And I was like, you know what? At that point in my life when I met him, I wasn't practicing as much either.
Okay.
And so it wasn't until after we got married, a couple months, he started, the RCIA program and brought us back into the church. So then we were like, it would be really good for both of us. We now at that point, like we both really wanted to get married through the church.
So did you have family or friends on either side for both of you that were maybe encouraging you to get married and maybe, get back into the faith? Or was anybody like praying for you behind the scenes that you didn't know about and then found out later?
My dad.
Oh, okay.
My dad, comes from very traditional Catholic beliefs. He's really strong on, completing your sacraments.
Okay.
And so when he found out that we were getting civilly married, he was very sad and kind of disappointed.
Oh.
And so when we actually got married through the church, had our Catholic wedding, he was so happy, even though it was a lot smaller and stuff, and it was like a redo. He was really, really happy. And after he walked me down the aisle, he, gave both of us a blessing, gave Josh a blessing as well, before he handed me over.
Tell us about the process for your marriage getting convalidated, and why did you think that it was important?
Yeah, so the first thing was, I know going like through RCIA, they had talked about convalidation and what that process was like, and I wanted to get the first communion confirmation done first before we did anything. And so once we got all that, then we talked to the people in RCIA, as well as the Father Bob, who was at St. Didicus, and he kind of walked us through that process as well.
And when he told me how he wanted to go into the RCIA program, I was like, that's awesome. I backed him up, fully supported him and into it. And I've already completed up to my confirmation up to that point. So I'm like, this is great, and then if he had any questions, he could ask me anything about it. If there was something I didn't know, we could learn it together.
Wonderful. Yes.
So that was awesome.
Oh, I bet. When you were taking your RCIA class, then is that when you were introduced to natural family planning? Is that when you first heard about it?
Yeah, that was our instructor was the one that brought it up, and never heard of it before. And yeah, I mean, how he presented it too was it made it seem like it was something that I should do.
Okay, all righty. How about you, Jessica? Were you surprised that there was, something beyond contraception? Had you heard about natural family planning before?
I didn't know the name of it, but I had heard about it before. I had a couple of friends that were trying to have kids, and they had said, they follow like their cycle, and they have someone that kind of helps them with it. So I didn't really know the particulars of it until we started the NFP program.
So can you talk a little bit about your experience then with the NFP class?
Yeah, I mean, so once we found out the was it the CCL, And, you know, we got in contact with what do they call the support couple or
Teaching couple? Yeah.
Yeah, the teaching couple.
Right.
And so we were just trying to figure out who to talk to, you know, looking at the email addresses, the area and everything. And so we shot out the email to whoever we thought was the closest or within the area. They got back to us pretty quickly, actually. And so that was kind of cool. And so we got excited about it. You know, it was something new. And, you know, we taken the classes, we bunkered down, we had our notepads taking all of our notes. And I mean, we're both scholars and everything. And, you know, I'm an academic, I teach. And so like, for me, I'm just like, okay, got that. You know, like we're trying to hone in on all the rules and all the, you know, what happens if we see this temperature, throwing out this temperature. And so it's, you know, like we enjoyed the process.
What does it look like for you guys to use NFP? Like, do you help her with the charting? Does she do all the charting? What's your routine?
In the morning, I set the timer for 5:30 and I get the thermometer, I give that to her. And then we tracked it in the morning. And then she also wears an Oura ring that we use. And so the chart has both of those. And so she inputs like all of her symptoms and everything that she's experiencing. And then I kind of mainly do like the LTL, the HTL, and then kind of figure out all the days and, you know, when the temperature rise occurs. So we're both pretty involved in it. I think.
Yeah. It is a great process, isn't it? Isn't it so interesting how the body works in such a logical, beautiful way?
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is meant to be. We're meant to be able to figure this out.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Is it important for couples to learn about natural family planning during their marriage preparation?
I think so. I mean, I think it's a great way. I mean, especially if their faith, you know, if they're you know, getting married through the church and everything, I feel like it's in reinforcement of, you know, what's the important, or not the importance, but like, I guess the gravity of it, of you know, the marital act, and you know how that, you know, you're inviting God into your relationship and all of that. So it's, you know, like creating that responsibility as parents that, you know, yes, you're engaging in the marital act, but then you're open to life. And so what comes with that is just all the other things that, you know, when having a kid. So I feel like it reinforces your faith, but then it also, you know, instills that responsibility that, you know, you're going to be parents and, you know, this is serious.
Did you find like adopting natural family planning was fairly easy for you guys? Were there any challenges or did you have any struggles?
I think just in the beginning, you know, just learning something new, it's going to be a struggle regardless.
Right.
And when we first started learning about, you know, the different parts of the cycle, we're like, wait, what do they say? Like, how, when does this happen? When does that happen? So I think in the beginning when we're trying to figure out the charts, what they all mean, and making our own charts, we found that I think kind of difficult, but as we went along, you know, it was really exciting for us to learn something new.
Yeah.
And since we were both like really into it, after we kind of got it down, I think it was really, really good.
What do you think the benefits have been to your marriage of practicing natural family planning?
Well, I mean, I think we've definitely been able, it's opened another type of communication. Like I think we're both pretty good with communicating with each other. But you know, I'm learning a lot more about her in different ways too. And you know, we were actually talking about it the other day, and I guess she's caught on that because I know like the cycles and everything, I know how to talk at certain times of her phase and not be so pushy at times. And so,
that's very helpful, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Oh, you're a smart guy, Joshua.
I thought I was slick, but I guess she caught on pretty quick. So
she caught you. What's one piece of advice that you would give a couple that's, you know, just learning about natural family planning to maybe help them along?
Definitely do it together. Be like both of you being on the same page, both of you going to classes, even if you're doing the self-paced, that you're just devoting your time, both you and your partner, to the class. Like, it has your undivided attention, and split the work, you know, doing it all together.
Kind of treat it maybe like a date, I guess. I mean, that's kind of how we do things. Like, even like the convalidation retreat, when we went to that, it was just, we enjoy spending time with each other. We don't care what we do. As long as we're doing it together, like we're open to it. So if you can treat it kind of like that, you know, it becomes fun, you know. I mean, you can joke around with your wife, you know, like
about mucus and temperatures.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like we had our giggles, and we were just all like, and I'll look at her, I was like, that happened? And, you know, like, like, is this real? Like, and she's just like, yeah, like that's, you know, that's natural. So it's just, you know, make it fun. It doesn't have to be like so serious, and you know, like you're not getting a grade on this, so it's just, you know.
Right. Thank you, Joshua and Jessica, for being on the PeakDay podcast. It was a real pleasure having you on.
Thank you for having us. We loved it.